If you're ready to take back control of your health, you're in the right place. Welcome to Awaken Wellness with me, Tanya Candy, registered nurse and health coach. Now, I'm not your typical nurse. I consider myself divorced from traditional healthcare. I broke free of the sick care system in 2019 when I realized that the root cause to my sickness, my autoimmune disease, and my chronic pain was me. If you're ready for truth, for clarity, for honesty in a tough, love, compassionate way, I'm the coach for you. Join me while we dig into our root causes of sickness and disease. If you're ready to take back control of your health, you're in the right place. Welcome to Awaken Wellness with me, Tanya Candy, registered nurse and health coach. Now, I'm not your typical nurse. I consider myself divorced from traditional healthcare. I broke free of the sick care system in 2019 when I realized that the root cause to my sickness, my autoimmune disease, and my chronic pain was me. If you're ready for truth, for clarity, for honesty in a tough, love, compassionate way, I'm the coach for you. Join me while we dig into our root causes of sickness and disease. Oh, hey everybody, welcome in. Thanks for being here. I was at the last minute trying to get the link out for everybody. So you just never know, right? With this automated virtual stuff. I always say there's usually some operator error, and the error is me. Trying to figure out all of this technology is definitely more than a full time job. So let me see everybody in the chat while I'm struggling here to get my notes back up. I was all prepared. And then thank you so much, each of you who messaged me saying, "Okay, where is the link? I'm not getting it." So I appreciate that. Um, I had my notes up and running, but now I am getting them back. So this is going to be super informal. You guys use the chat. I did at the last minute decide to go ahead and click the live button. So we are live on Facebook and YouTube as well. We'll see if there's anybody who joins us from there. Okay, I call this a health clarity session. All right. I think I'm paying attention again. How about now? Do you hear me now? Let me know, guys, what's going on. I switched microphones, so we'll just use my laptop mic. Let me know if you hear that now. Okay, good. All right. So we'll just let the fancy stuff go. All right. Thanks for the feedback, guys. Okay. So the question was to you in the chat. One, do you follow me? Do you listen to me? Like, are you familiar with my spiel? I work with clients virtually and one-on-one, so we do a little bit of both. And I have a couple of different strategies that we use. We're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about why. So Diana, I know she is an awesome follower. Her and her husband both. Paris, I don't recognize. Wendy, I'm not sure. So I'd love to get to know you guys a little bit more. This session is called Health Clarity. And like I said, it's going to be pretty informal. I do have some notes. More than likely, I'll get to rattling on different tangents. I'm going to tell you guys some of my story and how I came to be in this restorative health space. So, number one, I still say Nurse Tanya. I'm an RN by licensure. So that was my second career. First off, I started as a hairdresser. Then I went to nursing school. I really felt called to be a nurse. Like, as an on fire, born again Christian, really felt called to it. Even though I can't say that I was ever a science geek or really liked it. And I worked in nursing for about 15 years. I worked a lot in corrections. I worked at the hospital, the clinic, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I never really loved pills or medications. I liked knowing about them, for sure. But I never wanted to be the kind of nurse that was like in the ICU or the ER, like pushing really scary, life-saving, like cardiac drugs or stuff like that. The majority of my career, I worked in corrections, actually. So I did a lot of kind of counseling, per se, and that kind of psychosocial nursing. That was kind of more my jam. And then my body really started to fall apart. So I'm that person who had a really typical, I'm a Gen Xer, like give me some X's in the comments if you are a Gen Xer. I was divorced at a young age, raised two young kids. I always worked a full-time job plus a part-time job, put myself through nursing school, raising two little kids and with a job on the side, right? So I really come from that hustle harder generation. I don't know about you. Again, comments if you're a Gen Xer, if you come from that hustle harder, really uber independent, all those things, which are, I don't discredit them. Like that's how I was wired, but that also was a big part of my own health failure, was that not knowing how to rest, that hustle harder, go, 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 right? So if that's you, I'd love to hear about it. So just throw up some X's if you're Gen X in the comments. That hustle harder mentality. My body was really breaking down, but we'll get to that. Right now, I want to talk a little bit more about you. I am so glad that you're here. I'm honored to be in your presence, and I'm genuinely hoping that I can bring you some value, that I can bring you some clarity in this class. Now, let me say something super clearly. One, I don't diagnose, I don't treat. That's not my credentials. That's not my jam. And if you have ever been told by your doctor, especially after going in, I don't know about you, but I have to be pretty hard up before I would go to a doctor anyway. So you're already feeling humble being there at the appointment. You're you're really emotionally putting yourself out on the line, even going in. And then you get some blood work done, you have this conversation, and they're like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Everything looks fine, right? Have you been that patient? I was that patient where nothing in my body felt fine, but my labs were basically normal, or they weren't weird enough to come up with a diagnosis or a strategy or whatever, right? So the doctor just says, get some exercise, drink some more water, eat your fruits and vegetables. I'm sorry that you feel exhausted and foggy and inflamed and you're gaining weight for no good reason at all. So you leave that appointment feeling rejected,
that you got brave enough to go in there and you got no answers. You feel like you're crazy. Maybe this is all in my head, right? And you feel extremely broken. Have you ever felt that way going in for a doctor's appointment? Your labs are normal, but your body is still screaming for your attention. I always say that symptoms are like um, a little kid. Symptoms in your body are your body's way of getting your attention, like a toddler that doesn't really have any spoken language yet. That's your body saying, hey, we need to talk about this, right? So, whether it's brain fog, headaches, aches and pains, vision changes, digestive issues, all of those things is just a language. It's your body trying to talk to you about something. Right. So let's see in the comments that story that I just told. Is that speaking to you? Is that what got you here? I had some Facebook commercials. I had some posts going on. If you're on my email list, is that what drew you in? Is what does Nurse Tanya have to say about this? That is totally me. I've been to the doctor. They've told me I'm fine, and I don't feel anywhere close to fine. Diana, yes, I agree. She feels like it's a waste of time to go to the doctor these days, and you don't feel like they listen. And I get that. I get that as a nurse, and I get that as a patient. Like I was that person. I totally understand. My frustration as a nurse, especially busy hospital shifts, right? Like when people are really vulnerable and they're really hurting and they're confused. And as a nurse, all I had time to do was run back and forth to the med cart or run back and forth as the call lights are going off. You don't have that meaningful connection. And I know, I absolutely believe from the bottom of my heart that no doctor or no nurse went to school, invested in their future, invested in their career to come out feeling like they do right now. I guarantee you. And we all took a Hippocratic oath. We all, spent all these years in school because we truly did. We truly do want to help people. Paris says, I feel like doctors are a waste of our family's time and money too. I'd just like to get a jump start on a basic understanding of how to serve our large family from home instead of relying on a broken medical system. I love that, Paris. That is, I hope by the end of our conversation, you'll feel like you maybe have a couple of tools. And you said you were millennial, so you're a little bit younger than me. It sounds like you're in a responsible position in your family. If it's big group of kids, or if you're taking care of parents, or whatever it is, we're all kind of in the same boat. And there was a lot of us that had gotten to a place of mistrust pre-COVID, but since then, people have really started questioning the narrative and what they have been fed as answers. Janet says, I'm interested in a more natural way to care for myself and my husband. Awesome. And Paris has got homeschooling and some public, multi-generational home. Awesome. And it is, I feel like everything right now can be so confusing because, one, we're on social media, so depending on your feed, you're getting a variety of different narratives. And just like me, how I arrived here where I'm at in this point in time with my health journey as a person, as a patient, as well as a practitioner. each and every one of us, we evolve along a path, and it's ever changing, right? It's organic, it's growing, it's evolving. And that can make it really hard and even more confusing, because we hear all these things. We hear somebody's using castor oil packs and they're getting amazing results, or they're fasting and they're getting amazing results. So we've got so much more tickling our ears, and it can really lead us to be on this journey of chasing squirrels, right? And guessing and chasing squirrels. So I love our organic conversation. I will keep watching the comments. I'm going to try to get back to my notes because, of course, if you follow me at all, you'll know that I'm an open book, for one, and I get really sidetracked really easily. So let me get back to my notes. Talking about myself as as a patient and kind of my health journey. And I don't mean to make this all about me, but that's the story that I can tell. I've got a lot of clients, I've got a lot of success stories, but one, because of HIPAA, it's their story. It's not my story to tell, it's not my story to share. And two, I am really have this place in my heart where I cannot take credit for someone else's wins. Even people that I've helped along the way, that I've coached, whether it was in lifestyle enhancements, different ways to eat, testing, or any of it, putting the systems together so it works. You, like every one of you and every one of my clients, just like myself, I have to show up. You have to show up and do the work every day. So I'm here as a coach, as more like a tour guide to help you navigate the confusion, to help you learn from my experience. But in the end, the win is going to be yours, because you have to show up every day and be committed and doing the work. And none of us are perfect. Sometimes you'll completely fall off track. You'll forget that you were eating gluten-free. You'll forget that you were fasting. You'll go on vacation, and that's all perfectly normal. The main thing is that you find a place to circle back, that you don't just give in and give up. That's the hard part. That's where having a coach in your world, someone like me to be accountable to, even when you show up, I've got an amazing group program. When you show up at on Sunday class, I'm not gonna get out the ruler and spank your knuckles if you fell off the wagon that week. I'm just gonna be there as a home base for you to come back to. I am so normal. I am so humble. I am so less than perfect. So we're all just on this journey together. So as a patient, I'm my toughest patient for sure. I've got super complicated issues. As a nurse, I know how to go over the labs. I know what the normal ranges are supposed to be. And as a nurse, I trusted that. I trusted the medical community who taught me to value those labs. And then for me, it was probably my 30s that were the hardest on me. My body started falling apart, like literally. I had fibromyalgia, pain and symptoms all throughout my body. I had herniated discs in my back and in my neck that led me to eating an excessive amount of ibuprofen for years, on top of digestive issues. So the symptoms, and then what we're using for the symptoms compounds the problem. So for me, I had stomach problems. I had been through, must have been in my 30s. I was working at the jail, and if you've ever smelt stool that comes from somebody who's got a GI bleed. It's this worst smell ever. That's the smell of digested blood. I had my own experience with this, and it only happened twice. And so I kind of blew it off. I knew it was serious, but then I was working 2 jobs and I was a single mom, and I didn't have time to be sick. And then a couple of weeks went by and I was going up a flight of stairs and I was just like, oh my gosh, I can't even make it up these stairs. I had no energy. And I'm at that point, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to give up. I'm going to have to get humble and go in and see Dr. Wolf and see what's going on. Well, at that point, my hemoglobin was at the point under 7. So that's where they are wanting you to do a blood transfusion. And so I had chronic heartburn like for my whole adult life, hiatal hernia, then eating ibuprofen, which obviously is bad for your stomach, which causes stomach bleeds. So I had all these mechanisms and extremely addicted to Diet Coke. Get in the comments. Have you ever had a Diet Coke addiction? Like, that is legit. I could tell stories all day about this Diet Coke addiction. So anyway, I go through the testing, upper GI, lower GI, all the things. When my hemoglobin is that low that I need a transfusion, and the diagnosis was chronic gastritis, which means agitation, itis. Anything with itis on the end of it just means inflamed. And that was it. Go home, take Protonics for the rest of your life because you have too much stomach acid. Now I know that there is really no such thing as too much stomach acid. When we're under stress, our stomach acid gets shunted. If you get an ulcer, if you feel like your belly is burning, if there is too much stomach acid, there's a reason. There's something that your stomach or that your body is trying to take apart, trying to destroy, trying to fix, right? So, of course, that's all water under the bridge. What I didn't know. But that all led to being on a proton pump inhibitor forever. And when that happens, when you take away the stomach acid, nothing works right in your lower digestion. So even today, I am still, I wouldn't say on the struggle bus, but I have to be super careful. I have to do food allergy testing. I have to know what my body is rejecting. And it's still a struggle. And it goes back to those root causes way, way, way back. What was the root? Was it stress? Was it food allergies? Was it Diet Coke? Was it all of these things combined? So those are things when you work with me one-on-one that we really dig into. If you're one of those people that's more complicated, if you've got autoimmune disease in your history, if you have had a history of cancer, if you just know that you feel it in your core that you've got some underlying, maybe Lyme disease, maybe mold, maybe this, maybe that, then you're a person who really needs to work with me or somebody like me one-on-one. If you're a person who is just, in general, really feels pretty good for what we could feel like, right? When we really start to open our eyes and open our ears, and we're aware of what glyphosate does to our body, and we're aware what heavy metals and molds and GMOs and chemtrails and all those scary things, right? Our bodies are so resilient. We just have to praise God every day for how resilient He made us. And I feel like a big part of what I do is helping people stay in balance. Whether it's politics, whether it's conspiracy theories, any of it. A lot of people They'd rather keep the blinders on because knowing is scary. Knowing, when you know something, you become accountable for it. When you know that sugar is the root of inflammation and joint pain and arthritis and all those things, when you know that, now you're taking responsibility. And a lot of people, that's the hardest part, is when that weight of that responsibility is heavy, is super heavy. And I work with a lot of young moms and a lot of young families, and my heart goes out to them because in some ways I am so glad that I didn't know then what I know now. I say all the time, one, your first line of defense in this world is spiritual, is prayer, is thankfulness, an attitude of gratitude. Without those things, we cannot fix anything, right? So all the time, I'm so humble and so thankful that my obliviousness did not cause big damage for my kids, that it didn't cause bigger damage for myself, right? And so young moms who are crunchy, who are not using vaccines, who are not feeding food dyes to their kids, who are avoiding preservatives and avoiding endocrine disruptors and things like that, my heart goes out to them. That's such a big responsibility, like such a big responsibility. Um, so I really feel called to help them stay in balance, right? To help them have some tools and not get into a place of fear. We still need to enjoy life. We still need to get out and get fresh air and get sunlight and all those basic things that the world, that society has told us that we don't need, right? One of the biggest, we have a list of action items when we work together, whether it's in group coaching or one-on-one. There's a list of action items, and we don't want to overwhelm everybody. You want to pick 1 to 3 things off of the action item list, and those are going to be your non-negotiables. Maybe it's sleep, maybe it's making sure that you get to bed by 10, maybe it's increasing your water and your minerals, maybe it's a 5-minute gratitude journal. All these things are just little, but they're habit stacking. We call them habit stacking. So you take what you can do, what you can bite off, what you can stick to, and you do that for a week. And then the next week you add one more thing. But the step 1 always comes with you, right? So you're eventually changing and enhancing how you live and what you do. Maybe it's simple things like flossing before bed, or gargling for your nervous system, or taking breathing breaks, just like smokers take smoke breaks, but you take a breathing break of fresh air. You get outside, you get the sunlight, and you breathe. Simple things. This was not in my notes. Back to my breakdown. It was the digestion, it was the pain, and of course, at the time when I went in with a GI bleed, my labs were not normal. I was so anemic. I went through that, and also at that time of your female life when your cycle is getting way too heavy and weird, I had that going on as well. So that anemia, I ate ice. And that is called pyrexia, I think, if I remember correctly. I literally would go to the grocery store or a gas station and buy a bag of ice and chew through it, literally, in a couple of days. I always was chewing on ice, and that was the anemia, that was that digestion issues. It's amazing. I'm at this place now, this really cool place, where I feel better at 53 than I did back then in those early 30s, in those years when I was falling apart. And so it's not until I retell some of this story that I even remember. That seems so far ago. And it seems like such a different person. And so even now as a practitioner, it's hard because the stages that I've matured through, that I've healed through, I forget that that is probably where you're at. That's probably why you found me. Especially if you believe in quantum entanglement and like attracting like. I attract people who are like me, who are doing too much, who are working too hard, who are managing everything and maybe doing everything right. Maybe, avoiding the 7 inflammatory foods and taking the best supplements. But the thing you're not doing is resting. The thing you're not doing is truly taking care of you. You're more than likely taking care of everybody else around you. But what are you doing for you? Taking care of yourself, taking time for yourself, it feels so selfish as a young woman, even as a 50-year-old woman. But there is a place that you need, and if that's you right now, I am giving you permission. You need to hear me that you have got to become a priority sooner rather than later. I don't know, Paris, maybe that's for you. You have to become a priority. All of you women listening, I am giving you permission to put yourself first. Sometimes it means, as a young mom, oh man, it would be so hard. My son, he did club wrestling. We traveled every weekend. The Lord really took care of me. I was good about doing my tithing, and I lived paycheck to paycheck, and I always had some sort of credit card debt. I never let it get too high. I never let it get past beyond what my tax return would undo. But I had to live the life we wanted to live, to go to the wrestling tournaments, to do this, to do that. So like I get it. If the 30-year-old me knew that I needed to invest in a health coaching program or like better supplements or even like GLP-1 activation, I don't know if I could have done it. I don't know the budget, the kids' needs first, all of those things. It's such a hard place in life, but that's okay. You do what you can do. You don't have to do everything, but you need to know that there's a lot that other people in your family on your budget can do without as well. You just don't feel right about it. Your self-worth, your whatever it is, keeps putting you last. So just really spend some time in prayer about it and forgive yourself for whatever that is. Dig deep into, those issues have tentacles and they run so deep. We think that we are pulling them, but they're deep, like bad dandelions in the yard, that you can't get rid of without Roundup. And we all know dandelions are beneficial, right? But your neighbors don't like it. Your neighbors don't want to hear it. So this too, my friends, was not in my notes. So, back then, I got awakened to wellness. I had an amazing encounter. If you've ever had that, I've had a few in my life where the good Lord just picks you up and completely puts you on a different set of train tracks, right? It's scary. It's unimaginable. It's lonely. You feel like you're being asked to step out of the boat and walk on water. And this has happened to me in my life multiple times. When I had my health awakening, I was in this really, I know there was some scary stuff that was not diagnosed in my body that was going on. Had I not have gotten put on different tracks, I'm not sure that I would be here, right? I don't have anything wild and crazy that was diagnosed, but there was some scary stuff going on. So my awakening, and that's a cool story too. I won't tell you the whole story today, but I was called to go to a. It started with my daughter-in-law. She had said she was pregnant and she wasn't going to vaccinate. And I, as a nurse, honestly, had never even thought about vaccines one way or another. I had no opinion. I did not care. I had, yes, in the clinic setting, given a few, but I never thought twice about it. It was just part of the job. The doctor said, go get XYZ and, give it to the patient, or you check the box, you ask questions. Totally not on my radar. But I did know how even the nicest, kindest nurses talked about the anti vaxxers in the break room. That I knew. So when my daughter-in-law said, I don't think I want to vaccinate, my reaction was like, okay, let's do this. How can I help you? That's usually always my reaction when someone in my world states their intention. I'm not there to talk them out of it. I'm there to support them through it, whether I agree with it or not, right? And that's a hard role as the parent. That's a hard role as the grandma. But when she said that, I was like, okay, you're gonna get bullied. So we need to get educated. I will go to your appointments with you. I will help you. Like, how can I help you? And I again had no opinion about it. What, and isn't that crazy to be a nurse and really have no opinion about it? So I went to North Dakota to a education conference, and I heard a doctor named Patrick Flynn speak. He was a chiropractor. He was speaking on hormones, on eating, on functional testing, and I was mind blown. I was just mind blown. I'm like, this guy is saying what I have been thinking my whole life. What he is saying makes sense. And just right, I didn't want to go that weekend. The scheduling was a hassle. It was 4 hours away, blah, blah, blah. I almost talked myself out of it multiple times. But I knew there was something pivotal there for me, whether it was somebody I was going to meet, whatever it was. I knew when Yahweh wants me to do something, I can usually tell it's him. So I went, and boom, that changed everything for me. I was like, I'm signing up. This is the bus I'm getting on. This is it. This is my next step. And right then I was awakened to wellness. And that is the name of my brand, my business. It was just like that. So I went to his school. I put in a year and a half. I put up a bunch of money. I put up a bunch of time. And that was about 7 years ago, because that granddaughter will turn 7. So she marks that for me. So, and then I just kept going. I just kept learning. I just kept digging in. And as we do, we all find our own ways through these things, right? When I was a patient of the Wellness Way, when I was doing their program, I felt so much better. That's a place where I was so desperate in life. Again, just like the title of this lecture, my labs looked fine. At that point, I had gotten, my hemoglobin was good again. My cholesterol was good, my blood sugar was good, all of these things were good, but I still had so much pain in my body, those fibromyalgia points. I had chronic headaches since I was a kid. I had all these things. So at the beginning of this journey, and doing food allergy testing, I was that person. I was perfect. That list was long when I first tested for food allergies. It was 30 foods, and they're IgG allergies. I didn't have any IgE. So if you don't know what that means, you can get a hold of me and we can talk about that later. The IgG is inflammatory. It's an immune system issue. I had 30 things on that list. So I had thought, prior to this, maybe I should go gluten-free. That seems to be the trend, right? I am that person who, and that's why food allergy testing is such a valuable tool. And a doctor will call it sensitivity. I'll call it an allergy. If that's something that you want to do, get a hold of me. I have a couple of different companies there too. I have evolved in how I'm testing. But anyway, 30 foods, and I had thought about going gluten-free because it's trending and it seems like people feel better. So if I would have just done that, just gone gluten-free without the testing, I would have been so defeated and so disappointed, and I would have still felt like shit, because on my food allergy list was also cauliflower, was almond, was rice, was coffee, green tea, black tea, lettuce, tomato, all of these things. So had I had gone gluten-free, most all of the replacements for gluten are almond-based. They're almond flour. Oh, and dairy, right? So I would have gone to almond milk. I would have gone to almond flour or cauliflower or rice or whatever besides gluten. But my body didn't like any of those either. So again, I would have felt defeated. Like, how about you? Have you done that? Have you, got on some trend, whether it's fasting, like intermittent fasting, or you've gone gluten-free, or you've done the Whole30, or you've done carnivore or something like that, and you should have felt amazing. Everybody else who's tried it and who's done that felt amazing, but not you. You still feel like shit, right? And then you just feel more broken. You feel more isolated. You feel more abnormal, and you put in all this effort. You spent money. You did this, you did that, and it didn't work. Why did it not work for you when it worked for everyone else? Those are things that we address when you work with me, trying to wade out those things. And testing makes a big difference. Stool testing will always be one of my favorites to see what's really going on with that digestion. Food allergy testing, so valuable. We know that if that list is super long, then your gut is super leaky, period. If your food allergy list is not very long, then your gut is not in too bad of shape, and your healing will go a lot faster. Now, again, back then, I was doing that for almost 2 years. I was taking all of these herbs, really concentrated herbs. The first time I took that shot of herbs, I was like, no way can I drink this stuff. Like, no way. It was so disgusting. It was so hard then to make myself try again and try again and try again. And eventually, it wasn't a big deal. I could take those herbal shots, and I was so much better. But I still felt like something was missing. What was missing? And the good Lord again led me to the next junction, the next thing, the next layer, like a onion, like a jawbreaker, the next layer. I found, in peer groups, in Facebook groups, just practitioners talking, and everybody kept talking about this company called Cellcore Biosciences. And everything that I was hearing, I'm like, okay, I got to check these guys out. So I was able to get an account as a nurse. I was able to get into all their education and start learning and start using the products. And that is when my health really, really changed. So I truly believe in a foundational detox. That has become the core of how I practice. We first must address the cellular health. At the very cellular level, we have to open up detox pathways, your drainage. People are just way more junked up with poop and junky lymph and poor drainage than what they realize. When I started using Cellcore and I started doing parasite work, the stuff, you can follow me on YouTube or TikTok. I still have a lot of videos. You got to scroll way back because this was years ago. I don't have really interesting things coming out of me in the toilet anymore, but I did. And I have the videos. At one point, YouTube had taken my channel down, but they did put it back. So go back on my YouTube. And the stuff that came out of me was obnoxious. So many people don't realize it doesn't matter if you're healthy, if you're unhealthy, everyone has parasites and these things have to be addressed. Everyone is so much more toxic than they realize, and these things have to be addressed. When we talk about root cause, these things are the root to the root to the root, and we have to take care of them. I think as a species, we need to do it once a month on some level. Now, depending on where you're at, there's some people that are uber naturalistic and herbal gurus, and they DIY everything. I am not that person. I love my medical grade supplements that someone who knows far more than me put together. So I love Cellcore Biosciences. Their binders are amazing. Just life is so dirty. I cannot explain to you enough. Now, again, on our subject here tonight was your labs are normal, but you don't feel normal. So I would challenge you to do a total toxic test. So that you don't have to be my client or anything to get a hold of it. You can go to my website, go under lab kits, functional lab kits, go to Vibrant Wellness and find the total toxin test. Super easy to do at home. It just takes a urine sample and it is going to tell you how toxic you are. And it is true that if you don't kind of stir things up, if you haven't been detoxing, sometimes the test doesn't look too bad because those things are still in your tissues. They're still in your fat cells. Your fat cells love to store toxins, or they're still in your organs. They're still in your body. And then after you start detoxing, like 3 months later, if you were to retest, you would think you were doing something wrong because it looks worse. And it's not worse. It's just pulling things out of your body so your body can deal with it. So that is really the abnormal part, the part that medical doctors aren't looking for, that they don't know about. I have one little story that I will share because it's so profound. I have an 8-year, is he 8? I think he's 8. This little guy that I work with, and he has seizures. He has a seizure disorder. And his parents, it started when he was 2, I think. And then it went dormant for a while, and then it came back. And his parents have doctored everywhere. Mayo Clinic, I mean, the kid has scans all the time because they could not get these seizures shut down. They have to give him the rectal medication, and they still just don't want to shut down. So when they came to me, I do bioenergetic scanning. We looked for nutritional holes. We looked for like methylation and genetic holes. And then I had him take this urine toxicity test. And this little guy had more toxins than most 40-year-olds. His heavy metals were so high. So one, his cellular health, his liver, he's not detoxing. Like there's some nutritional support that's missing. He's not methylating. So, and then that heavy, heavy, heavy metal burden. And one of the direct symptoms are seizures. So starting to work with this guy, we have to go slow, we have to go low. He needed a bunch of B vitamins, he needed a bunch of vitamin C, and all those things are about your ATP, your cellular energy, and your generation. If your body can't make energy, if it can't make ATP, if your mitochondria are sluggish, your brain is not going to work right. Everything is going to misfire. So in working with that little guy, we got him to a place where these seizures have become rare again, really rare again. And I feel bad. Mom has got, so much mom guilt. So I'm just as much there for her as I am for him. But these are things that these toxins, we just don't give them enough credit. I don't care if it's high blood pressure, if it's diabetes, whatever it is in the body that is crashing, that is breaking down. Your body was created to heal and will heal from any condition when we, one, first remove what is not supposed to be there. Two, supplement what is missing. And three, deal with the stressors, the emotions, the toxins, the trauma, all of those things. And I've developed a program with the help of some of my mentors that have been in this space long before I was here. We've developed a program that really steps you through one by one, that supports you all along the way and walks you through that foundational detox with the lifestyle changes. And not everyone is okay just to walk in there. If you know someone, or if you're somebody who is super fragile, who reacts to everything, who, like, you take just a supplement and you feel funny, or you get a rash, or then you're a one-on-one. You're a one-on-one person. You're more fragile. We have to go slower. We have to fix these things. Again, let me get back to my notes here. I'm going to wrap up. This has been an hour already. Oh my gosh, you guys have been such a good audience. Let me quick look at the comments. Paris knows Dr. Flynn. That's awesome. Paris, yeah, I think everybody needs to do some detoxing and parasite work. On my website, I do have a DIY program that gives you access and kind of works through it. And that is perfect for somebody who is healthy and wants to get healthier. So yes, and Cellcore is my favorite. I also, on my website, under affiliate products, I do believe that Touchstone is a really good company and a really good basic. It's very basic. Cellcore is much deeper, but that Touchstone is very basic, and it's great for kids. Let's see, Janet. Yeah, Janet was just saying yes, that she gets that, where you're that mom and you are putting everybody first. So I love that. Let me you guys, if you have any comments, any questions, put them in while I get to my notes. I need to wrap this up. Of course, I talked way longer, than I anticipated. I kind of hit on most of the things as I was rambling through. Cellular energy is the most important. We can't talk enough about our mitochondria. Mitochondria. In basic high school, they led us to believe like there was one per cell, and there is a ton. There's tons, especially in the brain, the heart, and the major muscles. So we cannot fix anything until we get our mitochondria working back to where they should. Toxins. Many people, if you're on social media, everybody's talking about MTHFR. It is a thing. It really is. Staying away from folic acid, like that's what they recommend when you're pregnant. It's terrible. There's so many people that is a straight toxin for. Fortified anything, sprayed on vitamins, on your cereals, in your breads, all of it are straight up toxins. Most people cannot methylate those fake vitamins. So being on a really good comprehensive B complex with methylfolate, with not folic acid, folate, methylated, make sure they say methylated. Again, I love Cellcore. You can get access through me, and I can give you a discount if you go on my website, again, under affiliated products, or even just the store on my website. I love Cellcore's comprehensive vitamin. It's called Core Nutrients. It's even got your zinc, your selenium, your copper, your iodine, plus your methylated Bs, your D, your K, all of the essentials in that one. That is my favorite. If you're local, we keep it at the store. It is worth every penny. So you've got to stay away from junk vitamins. They are toxic. Most people absolutely cannot methylate them. Your liver goes through 3 phases of methylation. Your liver has to be able to take everything in your body from fat soluble. This includes your hormones. This is how people get hormone whacked and estrogen dominant and all sorts of problems. It's not a hormone problem, it's a liver problem. So your liver has to be able to take everything from fat soluble to water soluble, then into phase 3 where the body can use it or excrete it. So anybody who has got constipation issues, especially a woman, you've got estrogen issues, you've got liver issues, you've got bile issues. They all go hand in hand. So for most people, when they go through my 120-day foundational cellular level detox and parasite cleanse, the body fixes these other little things that might be annoying you or troubling you. Like, again, you get these things removed from the body. Support, most people need magnesium, and they need like a good supplement like core nutrients for their liver to do what it needs to do. And then you get good and clean, and you do maintenance. So you don't, after that 120-day foundation, you don't get to go back to what you did to get you here. You have to do better. You have to stay on track, right? I always say, if you, whatever age you are, if you're not intentionally doing liver work twice a year, that's when the liver naturally wants to cleanse, and you're not really trying, you're not really eating clean, or you've never done like a 120-day foundation, you are like a vehicle your age that's never had a good overhaul. That is my best way to describe it. And you know there is no trade-in, right? This is the body that you get. This is it. You don't get a new transmission. You don't get a new engine. You don't get the newest model off the assembly line. This is it. This is the only body. And as we age, that starts to get more and more serious. So yeah, anybody can maximize their health with that 120-day foundation. It's an amazing program. I've got multiple different ways that you can do it. You can do it completely the DIY way. There's a subscription. You get in my private Facebook group. I do have some emails that will go out to help you through it, and there are some videos. And then I have a group coaching program where you get a ton of me. You get videos like college courses that you're going to go through on your own terms, and we meet once a week. So you have that foundational support, but you also have that independence. And then, of course, I work with people one-on-one as well. So that is how I'm going to wrap this up. I honestly didn't plan on inviting you all to work with me, but that's silly not to, right? After I've been rambling on for this long. Part of that, you'll get an email follow-up from this session, and there is an offer there for you. There's a free gift. If you would like me to plug in your last blood work into a functional program, I will give you a super nice free report. It's a $150 value, but it gives you optimal function. So we wipe away what the lab says is normal. We plug it in to see what your optimal function is. Again, like I said, that's a free gift for you if you were here on the invite. If you happen to drop in live somewhere, just DM me and I'll get you the replay of this full session, and you'll also get an invite to take me up on that offer. So thank you so much for being here. Wherever you're at, make sure you like, share, follow. I'm just a nobody. I'm just little old Nurse Tanya, so I do appreciate each and every contact point, Google reviews, all of it. That is how you tip a small business this day. We appreciate it all. Thank you and good night.